tall buildings in a single bound. Look at the sky, the birds, the plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman. Strange visitor from another planet. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Didn't see that. I was, watching one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Of course. Sorry. Since you're here, and since Saturday night, why not continue my tradition? Okay, Trepacer's, Saturday reviews. I have two movies here, and I watched earlier today, and why not give you a review of them? Okay, the first movie that I'll be reviewing is a movie called Zodiac. Okay, or I'm going to put it this way. That way you can see that nice cover. Okay, this is based on the Zodiac killer case that was out in the San Francisco area back in the late 60s, early 70s. This is a film, of course, by director David Fincher. This is a movie that I've always wanted to see. I have a fascination for serial killers. I got a couple of books on serial killers and stuff, and always been fascinated by serial killers. Anyway, this movie came out in 2007, and stars, of course, this is basically based on the Zodiac killer case, based on a book by an author named Robert Graysmith, who was a reporter out in San Francisco. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Robert Graysmith. You have Mark Ruffalo as Inspector David Tucci, and you have Anthony Edwards as Inspector William N. Armstrong, and you have also Robert Downey Jr. as another reporter, Paul Avery. You got great support from Brian Cox's attorney Melvin Belli. He's a famous attorney. Anyway, this is, like I said, basically there was a serial killer called the Zodiac Killer who was basically hunting, I think it was couples mostly, out in the San Francisco area, around that area, California area. He was sending cryptic messages to the press, daring them in code, taunting them, the police, and with these cryptic messages, and this basically follows the investigation into that story and into the detectives' lives and then into the reporters' lives. And this is, like I said, a movie by David Fincher, and it's a really, really good movie. I watched it this morning. It's about 2 hours and about 20 minutes long, but it's engrossing, and you get caught up in the investigation of all the clues that they track down and hunt, and the people they question, and the investigations and stuff. And I think this great performances by the whole entire cast, specifically by Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Robert Graysmith, who was initially like a cartoon artist who becomes involved in the case because he starts to he's really good at puzzles and stuff, and he kind of figures out the Zodiac killer's code that he sends to the paper. He's really smart, and he figures out the code and stuff, so he helps. And then he also had Robert Downey Jr. as an investigative reporter, and he's investigating the case also. And then you have Mark Ruffalo and Anthony Edwards. They play inspectors, detectives on the case that's tracking down clues and stuff. And Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Robert Graysmith, he becomes obsessed with the Zodiac killer, trying to track him down, and he's following leads to the detriment of his family life and everything else. And it's just a really, really intense movie, and it's riveting, and it keeps you interested all the way through. And like I said, you get great performances from the cast, and this is a great, like I said, I'm a big David Fincher fan, and I definitely would highly recommend this movie. It's really, really good. Like I said, I'm into serial killers and stuff. I love the fascination of the human mind and stuff, and what the human behavior and what they can do. But this movie really, really is, it's riveting, intense, because they even show, they reenact certain of the murders that Zodiac killer committed, and those moments are chilling, and it's just a really, really good and intense movie. And definitely, I would highly recommend this movie. It's definitely worth checking out, and I'm glad I got it. And I know there's a Zodiac thing with a slip case, which I want to get, but definitely highly recommend Zodiac by David Fincher, one of his best, I think. Now, this next movie I'm going to show you is a movie that I saw two people review this movie first. First of all, I think it was was Kayla Jarrett, who's part of the Horoscope 101 channel, and she talked about this. She did a review of this movie, and also I think DVD Collector 100. She's another fellow YouTuber from the UK, and she had I think the Future Shop edition of this. And I don't know if she did a review of it. I think she might have just showed the slipcase for the version she has. But anyway, This is The Woman in Black by Daniel Radcliffe. I had the DVD, but I never watched it. But I recently, a few weeks ago, bought the Blu-ray with this nice slipcover here, even though I want the feature shop one, because that one has a great lenticular cover. But anyway, this story is about a young lawyer in London named Arthur Kipps, played by Daniel Radcliffe. He's grieving, the death of his wife, who died in childbirth over 4 years ago, giving birth to their son. Okay, so his grief has really affected his work to the point where his boss is on the verge of firing him. But he gives him one last chance to keep his job. He decides to go to this remote village to settle the estate of a recently deceased widower, I guess that's what you call it. And her name was, I think it was Mrs. Drablow. That's her name. So he, on the train he meets a gentleman named Daly, played by Syrian Hands, who welcomes him to the village and tells him, you got to be careful. This is a small provincial town and everything else. So when Arthur Kipps tries to check into the local hotel that he booked, they kind of give him the cold shoulder and tell him there's no room and stuff, and basically it's only by the kindness of the innkeeper's wife that he gets to stay in the attic, just for the one night, and then he makes his way over to the estate, and then that's when the fun starts. And that's when he, while going through the papers in the house of the widow, that's when he starts, seeing what I guess would be what you think would be ghosts. Okay, and then like I said, when he discovers, well, I don't want to give too much away, but basically when he goes to the house and he starts seeing things, and basically he finds out that the house is haunted. Okay, and the reason, I won't tell you the reason why it's haunted. Okay, I'll leave that for you to watch and discover. And again, like I said, the whole town appears to be wanting him to leave and trying to give him the cold shoulder. It's only the guy named Daly that he meets on the train who's the only one that's really practical. He doesn't believe in ghosts and stuff. He's a modern man. He doesn't believe in ghosts. And he's the only one, I think, with a car in the whole town, and he doesn't believe in the ghosts and stuff. And he's trying to, just keep Arthur on the straight and narrow and tell him, don't believe in ghosts and stuff. The human mind, when it's lonely and stuff, can play tricks on you and stuff. So he's basically trying to keep him. But everybody else in the town is wanting him to leave, okay, for various reasons, which I don't want to get into. That'll spoil the plot. But basically, like I said, the mystery in this movie is, in the house and what's haunting it or not haunting it, and the reason why. Okay, and I don't want to get into that, so that I'll spoil it. But I love this movie. I really like the atmosphere. The whole dreary setting of because the house is out by the, I guess I don't want to say out by the beach, it's out in a remote place where the tide gets in, so you can only get there during certain times. Other times, when the tide comes in, you can't really travel to it. So it's basically he's isolated out there by himself, and this is an old creaky house, okay, with lots of noises and sounds and stuff, and he's seeing things and wondering what's happening. And then in town, certain things start happening, and which I don't want to get into, but I don't want to spoil it. But what happens in town, and that ties into the mystery of the house. And it's a really, really good movie. Daniel Radcliffe is really good in this. Also, like I said, Syrian Hands, who plays Daly, the only, I guess, person that befriends him, is really good too. And then you have the various townspeople and stuff that try to ward him off, to try to get him to leave and stuff for various reasons, which I don't want to get into, which spoils the plot. But a really, really intense movie, really great atmosphere, and a really good movie. I really like this movie. So let me see. I would definitely recommend seeing this. If you like a good ghost story, mystery, with good suspense, this is your movie. Okay, so out of these two movies, I'm going to go Zodiac. I'm going to give Zodiac an 8 out of 10. Actually, you know what? No, I really, really like Zodiac. So I'm going to give Zodiac a 9 out of 10. Okay? I really, really like this. I like the performances. I like the way it's written, the whole reenactment of certain things, and the pacing of it. Great performance by the cast. Great direction by David Fincher. Definitely a 9 out of 10. Now, Woman in Black, like the whole atmosphere, the whole setting, the whole mystery, and what it entails. Okay, so I would give this movie not a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because there could be some things that could have been. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. No, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Definitely worth getting and owning and watching and really entertaining. And it had a couple of jump scares in there that did get to me. I have to admit that. It surprised me. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Okay? Definitely worth getting. Both movies definitely totally worth getting. Okay? So that's my reviews. Let me know what you think. If you've seen those, feel free to leave the comments down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long and take care. And I'm going to continue to watch one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal man. Superman can change the course of mighty rivers, laying steel in his bare hands, and rule the sky as Clark Kent, while that reporter was written about the newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way.